and welcome to another Fox Vlog. I'm Kel, author, artist. We are in a different room today with art in the background in progress. The next stage of which is to put creatures, possums or birds or something, in that tree. Well, I can't tell if it's just that I haven't decided exactly what I want to do with that or if I'm nervous about painting that stage because so far it's been exploratory painting and now it's kind of trying to commit to the possible vision, which I don't know. When I'm painting those big acrylic pieces, I don't know where they're going until suddenly it appears, and then the pressure's on because now I know what I want to do. And fulfilling that in any art form, including writing, is something of a challenge because now there's something at stake. Book updates, writing updates. I am working through what is actually, I think, my favourite stage, and I always forget that it's my favourite stage, and I go into it with great trepidation, and now I'm really enjoying it, which is good. I do what I call my smash draft, blaze through it. I say blaze. I have to keep reminding myself to do that and not try and make it perfect on the first run, but there we go. And I then go straight back in. There is no break. There is no put it away for 6 months and get fresh eyes and come back, because I need to have all the pieces of the puzzle in my head that I now know I need because I've written the entire thing from start to finish and I've got an idea of the concept. Also, I'm on a Fitball, which is very bouncy. And I then have to go back to the top and then put it all together. All the bits where I was just got to a stuck part and just went, fix this later. Now I need to actually fix that. Put something in that hole, put out that fire, connect the bits where I took a passage and then cut it and stuck it somewhere else or deleted it entirely and then didn't reconnect the bits that were left behind. All those things that I just leave when I'm in my first draft because fixing them usually just creates more knots to untie later. I now go back and sort out while the whole story in its sort of finished concept is in my head still. So that's the step that I'm at. Then it goes to beta readers. In this case, I actually gave the full of holes and everything on fire draft to one of my most trusted readers for more of an alpha read. It came back with pretty good feedback. I think the general consensus was there are a few little bits, some threads that are a bit harder to follow than they should be. But other than that, overall, the story works. So I'm fairly confident. This run shouldn't take too long. Then I can get it to more beta readers. And that's when I put it aside for a while. So once I've done that first revision and connected all the bits and filled the giant holes I left behind the first time, because I didn't have the whole picture in my head, even though I plotted in advance, I still don't really know. I like to discovery write to some extent. That then goes to beta readers, and I will put it aside for a while and not look at it so that when I come back, I'm fairly fresh. It is windy outside, if that's coming through. I apologize. Illustrations for Secrets are also kicking along. I have got all the preliminary sketches, which is to say very rough little drafts, done for 10 illustrations that will go in the illustrated novel on Kickstarter. There might be more. That was the oven timer going off. There might be more, depending on how well things go, how enthusiastic I get, how long these things take to make. But I'm hoping to put 10 illustrations in as a starting point. I've also discovered the brilliance of thumbnailing, which is really obvious. If you're an artist of any kind, you probably already know about this, and do it because you're not a fool. But I have ignored it for years. I've just kind of gone, I have in my head what I want to do. I know what that is. Why would I try out 10 different versions of something when I know what I want to do from the start? And the catch is this concept that you have in your head is not always going to be what is the best choice. I think especially for perfectionists, you have this vision in your mind of what you want your work to look like. That is irrelevant whether or not the skills required to execute that are the skills that you have or even want, in the sense that I heard some advice from an artist a long time ago that was really quite useful. You might not like making the art you most love to look at and admire. And it's so true. And it's not to say that I don't love looking at the kind of art I like to make. Obviously, I make art that to me has some aesthetic value. And I also love looking at, say, detailed pencil illustrations, very hyper-realistic paintings. And I don't love making them. I can if I really want to. Like, I do have the skill if I wish to apply myself to those, but I hate doing it. And there's no passion then. It's just an academic exercise. And I think you can feel that. I at least feel like that's important in a piece of art. And the point is, I will visualize something in my head that, one, by the power of imagination, which has no boundaries or limits on it, will come up with something that actually might not physically be possible to execute in the limitations of an artistic medium, or something that is a style that I love to admire but actually really don't love to make. And then if I did try to execute that, even if I succeeded, it's not going to have the passion and the love and the heart in it that I think art should have. So, or at least for me, art that I make should have. Thumbnail sketches turn out to be brilliant because I can get that first idea in my head out of the way on the paper, and it might be great. Like, I often look at it and go, yeah, that works. I should start with that. But challenging myself to do different versions of the same thing, take a different angle, take a different perspective, change up the background or even the context of the scene or the way it's being portrayed. One, it's a useful exercise in kind of creativity and in reimagining things. And two, it often seems now to lead me into something that I know I will execute better based on my skills and interests and the style in which I want to work. So thumbnailing has been really good. And I have now done thumbnail sheets of all 10 illustrations that I want to do. I'm feeling pretty good about that. So onto the sketches, like what will be the base sketches for the watercolors, which doesn't have to be super detailed, like illustrative pencil drawings or anything like that, but they do have to be accurate, and drawing people is a challenge. It's good. As for the actual Kickstarter project, the goal is to get the pre-launch page for that, which is the one where it's just the pretty banner with the cover and you can sign up to be notified on launch. That's going to be live by the end of the month. Next vlog, you see it will be alive and ready to go with the cover. Also, something else that I had this spectacular vision of in my head that turns out to really not be a great cover. So that's come out different to how I planned, but also very happy with. And it will get revealed with the Kickstarter pre-launch to my Substack list soon, very soon. It'll go there first. If you want to be the first to know, sign up for this watercolor illustrated romantic gas lamp fantasy set in a magical garden city. Sign up to my Substack, follow the Kickstarter, or wait here and I'll announce it next time I do a vlog. That will be fine too. That being lots of work, I have not made a whole lot of progress on anything else. I have not been giving any thought to soul shards. Sorry, soul shards. I really do wish to get back to it, but it's just one of those projects that requires, at this stage, a lot of very careful planning because final stages, second half of the series, which I think is where things need to start paying off, or at least coming together. That requires a lot more exploration. Characters in Whisperers, Ursa and Del, will have a role to play in the end of the Lightless Prophecy, so that's important. I'm really glad I've written that out. Children are screaming in the background. I live next door to a school, which means I need to wrap this up before they start making even more noise. One Masked Ball, also on hiatus a little bit, but I want to try something new with that, and that is I have always just worked on many projects at once, but in large blocks. So I'll work on Whisperers. I worked on it until I got completely stuck, and then NaNoWriMo was coming up, so I'm like, right, I'm going to do something different for NaNoWriMo that will hopefully kind of get me back into the joy of writing and break me out of this sort of hole that I've dug myself into. And it did, which was great. So I worked on One Masked Ball for a month for that, and then I had to go back to Whisperers because I really wanted to get it finished by the end of last year, which I didn't, but that's okay. It's finished now. I'm thinking of having one day a week that I put aside for One Masked Ball. I work on that, and even if I'm loving it and want to keep going the next day, I don't. I go back to whatever my other project is for that day and work on my projects that way. So they all progress a little bit, which will mean that they're a little bit slower, but Secrets is pretty soon going to be in the hands of beta readers. I will need a break from it. Slowing down that process will be all right, I think. It's just something I feel like I should try because I never have, and it doesn't sound like it will work. It sounds like splitting my mind each week across multiple projects is just going to be distracting and hard, and I'd lose a lot of time jumping in and out of things, but I don't know if that's true. I've never tried it. It might be amazing. It might mean that because I get a regular break from a project, I don't end up digging myself into the deep pits of despair I dug myself into with Truth at the end of last year. You got to try. A bit like the thumbnail sketches. Had never tried, didn't really think I needed to, and then I tried, and oh my gosh, it's amazing. I thought I'd learned this lesson when I was a little kid in primary school, and this art teacher came in as a guest one day, and she's like, today we're going to learn a method for drawing horses. And I was a horse mad child, and I'd been drawing horses for years at that point and thought I was pretty good at it in all my 10 years of wisdom and said, well, I don't need this. I can already draw horses. I love drawing horses. I don't need to make boxes to get proportions and so forth. And the teacher was like, no, you're going to do the class exercise. I was a stubborn child. Still am a stubborn person. I think that's a trait that helps you get through doing ridiculous creative projects like illustrating a novel. Anyway, I had to sit down and do the exercise with the class, and lo and behold, it was amazing, and I learned a whole lot, and I became even better at drawing horses than I had been before. When a new opportunity or way of doing something presents itself to you, give it a go. That is the message that I had thought I had learned from that, and then turns out still got stuck in my ways, but I will try it again. So that's my commitment. This is going to be short because I have a loaf of banana bread in the oven that I need to go and rescue, and there are children about to start crying outside. So next vlog, the Kickstarter pre-launch page will be alive for secrets. If you enjoyed this chaotic rambly vlog, like and subscribe, the usual stuff, and feel free to let me know what creative projects you're working on. I'd love to hear about them. Thank you for watching. Bye.